makes people happy and motivated at work is what they do. What makes people unhappy is the situation in which they do it. When you bribe people, they never gave you their best performance. They only gave you better than average performance. Let me begin by telling you that in my office in the United States where I do consulting, I have a horseshoe over my door. And when management people come in for a consultation, they see that horseshoe, and they say to me, "Fred, you don't believe in that, do you?" And I say, "Certainly not." And they say, "Why do you have it then?" And I said, "Because it works whether you believe in it or not." What I will talk about, ladies and gentlemen, works whether you believe in it or not. You managers are going to have to become familiar with 3 new letters that are going to become exceedingly important in the management of people in the future, which has begun about 10 years ago. And those 3 letters are QWL, standing for the quality of work life. What kind of life am I leading on the job, as well as what kind of life am I leading in general? We're going to have to define people the way they are, not as the way they wish them to be. And that's the big kicker today. Many of your workers that you assumed had the characteristics which you needed them to have are saying today, "I'm not like that." And just as the women's and the women's liberation say, "Treat me the way I am, not the way you wish me to be," the workers that say, "Treat me the way I am, not the way you need me to be." So the big revolution that you're going to face in managing today is you're going to have to meet the needs of people, not your projected needs.
Well, there are 2 sets of needs that people have. One set of needs are people, which I call hygiene needs. And these hygiene needs deal with man's relationship to the environment. They consist of how you treat people. Do you pay them well, good working conditions, human relations, status, everything that surrounds what you do in a job. Now, these are what I call hygiene factors because they prevent people from hurting or dissatisfaction, and they're environmental. And these hygiene needs keep people from being unhappy. That's their function. They don't motivate people. Now, another set of needs that people have is they're human beings. And they say, not only do I hurt, and I don't want to hurt, so treat me well, hygiene. But they say, I'm a human being. I want to do something. I just don't want to avoid pain all my life. I want to show what I can do. I want to, in a sense, psychologically grow. I want to end my life by saying not that I vegetated, but I am more than I was before, and that can only be measured in what you've done. And these are what I call the motivators. And these are not how I am treated at work, but what do you let me do at work? Do I achieve? Do I get responsibility? Am I advancing and growing? Is what I do meaningful and significant? These are the variables that motivate people, because people who want to do something want to do it. That's motivation. People can be made to do almost anything if you threaten them enough or bribe them enough. That's hygiene.
If I offer you 10,000 pounds as a bonus, will you do something for me? I'm just trying to find out your price. Sure, you'll do something for me. I can threaten or bribe you. If you're hungry and offer you food, you'll do something for me. Do you want to do something for me? The answer is no. But if you're hungry enough, will you? And the answer is yes. In other words, I can get you to move. And this is what I've called kita. That's the simplest, easiest way to get anybody to do anything, is to kick them in the ass. And you can do it either positively or negatively. Negative kita is threatening them. Positive kita is offering them a reward. One is the carrot, one is the stick. If I kick you in the ass, you'll move. And if I want you to move again, what must I do? I got to kick you again, right? In other words, I can charge a man's battery, but unless he has his own generator, he's not motivated. Does he want to do a good job because he wants to do a good job? That's motivation. Does he want to do a good job because he gets a bonus, he wants a house, a car, a Jaguar? That's movement. So what do you get by treating people well? You can get some movement. But it's not motivation. When your hygiene is good, when you treat people adequately, you get what is called an average performance, a fair day's work, which is about half of what the individual can give you. And today it's going down closer to a quarter. Now what you can do, obviously, is to exaggerate the hygiene, as I just said, the kita. I'll give you a bonus. You throw that extra jelly bean, you'll get a performance above the fair day's work. But a reward once given becomes a right. And if you don't keep those jelly beans, those bonuses going, then his performance is going down to the fair day's work. Except since the reward given once becomes a right, this becomes the new fairness of hygiene. And so when it drops down to a new fair day's work, it's below the previous one. So when you bribe people to work, what do you get? A temporary improvement in performance at the cost of creating a long-term lower fair day's work. And this is why costs go up and productivity goes down. When you bribe people, they never gave you their best performance. They only gave you better than average performance. If we're going to deal with motivated performance, then we can't use the hygiene factors. The only thing we can use are the motivators. That is achievement, recognition for achievement, meaningful, interesting work, increased responsibility, and growth and advancement at work. In other words, the quality of the human experience at work. What will determine my motivation to play the piano? Well, one of the most obvious determinants of my motivation to play the piano is, can I play the piano? You can't motivate me to play a piano if I can't play the piano. You can't motivate me to fly an airplane if I can't fly an airplane. So one of the most basic variables that we forget with all the psychologizing about people's attitudes and so on is, can they do it? Ability. You can't motivate anybody to do a good job who can't do a good job. So one of the most powerful motivators that you have in your personnel armamentarium is training. The more a person can do, the more you can motivate them. All right, if you want to motivate me to play the piano, I have to know how to play the piano. Now that I can play the piano, what will motivate me to play the piano? Well, do I have a piano to play? It's very simple. And that is opportunity. Motivation is a function of ability and a function of the opportunity to use that ability. The biggest problem that we've had in industry is the opportunity to use one's ability. What we've substituted for opportunity is cultural noises of responsibility. This is a very responsible job. I want you to be responsible to be an idiot. I need responsible idiots. And this is where job enrichment comes in. The job enrichment movement is to give people the opportunity to use their ability. Let me go over some of the aspects of jobs that should be included, to be thought of in a job enrichment program. What should a job contain? Well, first of all jobs that people have should have a range of responsibilities and activities, sort of a concentric circles, in which you are hired for this job, the largest job. Though you come in with the ability to only do this, you are hired to do that and expected eventually to do that, and you are paid for that. What this does is put in one of the most important ingredients in life, in activity. All jobs should be a learning experience, a growth experience, inherent in the job. Within this module of work, within this concentric circle job, you have to make sure a number of things occur. First of all, that the individual gets direct feedback. This is very important. How am I doing should be built into the system automatically. How am I doing should not be a formalized, outside my job system, that is a supervisor telling me. How am I doing should not be dependent upon an appraisal system. How am I doing should not be dependent upon somebody else telling me. Along with the direct feedback should be the responsibility for self-checking. Man should always be responsible, held responsible for his own quality. You cannot pass that buck off into an inspection team. But you cannot hold anybody responsible to be an idiot. So if you're going to hold him responsible for checking his results, he has to have a meaningful thing to do to check. If he's doing idiot work, then you cannot hold him responsible for checking it. Now in industry, we communicate too damn much. The worst thing to do, and most of the communication, of course, is passive communication. The idea is, if you tell the worker what it's all about, he will be more motivated. So you tell him why he has to be an idiot. And we get too much communication, one, because we feel that we have to tell everybody everything. He really doesn't give a damn. If he's on an idiot job, he doesn't give a damn. But you think by communicating, you know, if you tell your wife everything, you think she's going to forgive you? Another reason for too much communication in the companies is because we don't allow the person who's doing one job communicating with the person he has to communicate with. We have to go through a supervisor, over to his supervisor, down to the communications. So one important ingredient in job enrichment is direct communication. Let the man talk directly to the person he has to, not through intermediaries. Let me say, the worst way to pay people is on piece rate. That is absolutely the worst way to pay people. That's paying people constantly jelly beans, reinforcing each little bit of behavior. The next worst way to pay people is on an hourly rate. The best way to pay them is a salary, a yearly salary, period. Now let me make a point here. Hygiene is as important as the motivators for different reasons. That's the important. One is not more important than the other. Let's not put a value judgment. I don't know which is more important, write a book or eat. It's like asking, do you want me to kill your wife or your daughter? It's a non-competitive question. Quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen, I wallow in hygiene. I love hygiene. There's an article by a Columbia University professor titled The Ominous Dr. Herzberg and Wage and Salary Administration. And the gist of his argument was, watch out for Herzberg because he doesn't believe in money. And a lot of companies pick this up and say, oh, wonderful, wonderful, you don't believe in money. And I had to run around all these companies and say, this is not true, it's misinterpretation of my theory. No, Fred, you don't believe in money. Great, great. So in sheer desperation, I had to raise my fees. Can I make the point that when I say it is hygiene, it is not a second-class citizen concept? Treating people well and using them well are equally important for different reasons. One form of hygiene, compensatory hygiene systems, is to deny people fair treatment at the beginning with the declaration that you'll make it up to them later on. So I'm not going to pay you as much as the going wage or the rate, but if you prove yourself, you'll get extra. What happens here? Well, let's say if in my youth I was poor and I didn't have enough money and I didn't have enough food, and then I grow up and I make money more than I need, but I continue, and more than I need to eat or meet my needs, but I continue to pursue money. Why? Because I'm trying to remove a remembered pain. And you can never remove a remembered pain. It's like you say to your wife when you're starting out, honey, I know I'm not spending much time with you and the children. I got my career, but when I'm successful, I'll make it up to you. You never make it up. You never make it up. And this leads to a revenge psychology on the part of the employee. Since that pain is always with him, and he can't remove it no matter what you do, he gets revenge on you. And you see this so often in labor relations when I ask why such grievance, such a strike, such a turmoil over such a petty event. And I say, you know what those bastards did to us years ago? So never deny people proper treatment with the idea that you can make it up to them later on. You cannot. It will lead to a remembered pain, which leads to a revenge psychology. They'll get back at you sometime when you need them. So the principle here, of course, is treat people fairly, always.
When management says, quite frankly, the reason the worker is not producing as well is because we did not respect him enough and challenge him enough and give him enough satisfactions, it's our fault. We didn't know how to manage human beings. We knew how to manage robots. When management can say that, mea culpa, I was excellent in being a martinet over a bunch of idiots. I wasn't such a great manager. I just knew how to hurt people well. When they can say that, and then I think a new understanding will come.
The biggest problem that we've had in industry is the opportunity to use one's ability. All jobs should be a learning experience, a growth experience, inherent in the job. What makes people happy and motivated at work is what they do. What makes people unhappy is the situation in which they do it.